Today I want to ask you a question, and the question is, why do you do what you do? I think from a very young age we're told to follow our hearts, but how many of us actually do it? It sounds like sort of cheesy advice, I would say, but I think we all know that there's a shred of truth to it. The problem is we don't know how to follow our heart. Now, a few years ago, I stumbled across a book called Reality Transurfing by Vadim Zeland. It's a Russian book, and it's about 900 pages. And it goes into depth and detail about this very topic, about how to follow your heart and how to understand the movement of the world and the flow of events as they're set out, how to follow that flow and how to be fulfilled in your life. I don't think most people are happy. I don't think most people are doing something that they're passionate about or even proud of. And I don't think it has to be that way, and neither does the author of this book. In fact, he says that when we find our true goal, our life becomes a celebration. And there are some people that live that way. But for some reason, many of us won't allow ourselves the option to live that way. We won't even consider it, even for a moment, that we could be living our dream. Instead, we say, we'll do it another day. We'll find another time to invest in this next venture. We'll build our business when we have enough money or after X, Y, or Z. And it's a trap. It keeps us locked in the place that we are, ultimately. So what this book really showed me was that we have the ability to choose. We have the ability to choose whatever it is that we want from life. We can be whoever it is that we want, within reason, obviously, right? There's a couple elements here that we will go into depth about. But I wanted to sit here and watch the sunset with you, and I wanted to point out that the sky will never look the way that it looks right now in this moment. It just simply won't. The sky will never be the same. It will never repeat. This sunset is one of a kind, just like you, just like every single person on this planet. And what makes them one of a kind is their heart. It might sound cheesy, it might sound hokey. That's all right. That's not what's important here, you know? Because if you know down deeply in your heart, in your soul, whatever you want to call it, that you actually could follow your heart, that you do have something unique about you, that you do have something special about you, then I think it would be worth it to consider how you would bring that about. And that is what the Reality Transurfing book teaches. It's what it shows. The idea that this sunset will never happen again really rests with the idea of infinity that we were taught in grade school. Infinity is an incomprehensible truth. The brain can't even begin to process the idea of infinity or eternity, but it's been something that's been around for as long as humankind has existed. That was one of the keys that really helped me to start to follow my heart, to start to go on a trajectory that was off the beaten path, that wasn't established, that wasn't already laid out or set out for me. And it's been one of the best decisions of my life. I'm not going to lie to you and say it's all been, roses and it's been easy to do. That's not true. I would say simple, but not easy. But this book really, really helped me to understand that and that it was possible. And what I want to share with you today is that, or I want you to at least consider that it might be possible for you too, that it might be something that you could do. You could go after your dream. You could find your true goal. Your life could be a celebration. It could be rewarding. It could be fulfilling. If infinity is real, and we know scientifically that it is, then it has to be a possibility. However likely or unlikely it is, consider the fact that it has to be possible because infinity is real. And so as we sit here and watch the sunset together, which we'll never be able to see again, I want you to think about that and what the implications are. And I'm going to explain to you how it works in the reality transurfing model that you actually can live the life that you would choose. And that's the key word right there. Because we choose in every moment with our attention and energy what it is that we're focusing on and what actions that we take, right? We don't consciously choose our thoughts, but we can shift our attention and awareness towards thoughts and towards, I would say, like streams of thought that are more beneficial and positive for us. Or we could choose to shift our attention and awareness to things that are completely destructive, and we could implode and self-destruct. I myself had a day today where self-destruction was a possibility. I mean, it always is. It's hilarious to me that we could just ruin everything just in the tiniest moment. But that is the way that it is. Building something positive takes a little bit more energy, it takes a little bit more time, it takes a little bit more effort. It's easy to come apart at the seams. And I'm going to explain exactly why that is, and I'm going to give you something to chew on as far as how you're made up and who you are at a core level. The book talks about how we are two parts. We are heart and mind. So our heart is a raw expression of infinity that comes into the world when it's born, and it has its own unique personality. It has its own essence. And it comes into the world and it wants to have an experience. It wants what it wants. It wants that thing that is tugging at you inside. That's what it wants. It wants you to follow that. Now, the mind, on the other hand, is something altogether different. The mind is very much a part of this world, a very concrete and rational element of who we are. It is the part of us that is a clean slate when we come into the world. We can assimilate any culture, we can learn any language, we can adapt to whatever norms and standards that are set out for us. And that's exactly what we do. We begin to go onto our development with the mind generally leading the charge. And then we hear things like, oh, follow your heart, it'll all work out. And we see evidence to the contrary. And the reason for that, in my opinion, is that people don't understand how to follow their heart. Most people are extremely haphazard. If they do, maybe they wind up on drugs or homeless. I don't know. I don't think that the heart really wants to be addicted to drugs, but I do think it is seeking some form of, I would say, rapture or connectiveness to the universe. And I think that's why a lot of people drink and do drugs. It's, I think, why I drank and did drugs for as long as I did. And it was kind of a motivator, and it made me feel good, and it made me feel like I could let go. Now, I don't think we need drugs or alcohol to let go. In fact, I'd say much the opposite. I think we really need to learn to connect more to our heart. And what the author says in the book is that our heart and mind, they can work together. They can coordinate, and they can create a reality together. The masculine and the feminine, the masculine mind and the feminine heart can actually work together. So the infinite part of us, this soul that comes into the world, can unite with the mind that is here experiencing the material reality. And between those two elements, we can create a conscious experience of a life we actually want to live. We can actually create a fulfilling journey in this life and go toward our goal, toward understanding ourself and creating something that's of value to us, but also to the world through what the author calls intention. He says one of the truest things I think I've ever heard. He says that I don't wish, I don't hope. Dreams don't come true. I intend. And he uses the example of intention as moving your finger. Boop, boop, boop. Move your finger. Move your finger. How hard was that? Did you have to want to do that? Did any sort of prompting need to go on in your body? Or did you just move the finger? You just moved the finger. And so we have somehow lost connection to that heart and mind alignment that the author talks about in the book. And many of us feel out of alignment. We feel like something is wrong, like something is missing, like we could be so much more than we are. And I think that feeling comes from something that's true within us. Vadim says in the book that the heart doesn't think or speak, it feels and knows. It just knows. If you've ever just known that you've known that you've known, that's the heart saying, hey, this is it. I want this. And then the mind thinks and speaks. The mind can't create anything fundamentally new, however. It's really attached to this dense material world, but the heart is connected to the infinite. It's part of this beautiful skyscape that we see right here as the sun begins to dip into the Gulf of Florida. I'm not trying to get political in this video, you know? But whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that is true for you. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with anybody else, okay? You've got to take them completely out of the equation because that's not fair. But whatever is true for you, whatever it is that you truly want for you, that's in your heart, if you can begin to form an image of that and then start to use your mind in order to move into that direction, that is how intention is formed, and particularly outer intention. If it's something that is rejuvenative, it gives you energy, it makes you excited, it gives you passion, it lights you up. Vadim says when the heart and mind agree, the heart sings and the mind rubs its hands with glee. Kind of a Monty Burns sort of image there. But the idea is kind of that, right? Like the mind is very much a prison, just like the idea of the Matrix, you know? And we come into this world with this fundamental understanding somehow that we're this beautiful, infinite creation, that we run and we play and we jump and we shout and we wiggle. And then over time, we become tense and we become tight and we become stressed and we start to worry about everybody else. And we just become kind of a shell of what we once were. Over time, the world whips us into submission with its displeasure. And the way that that happens is through what Vadim calls pendulums or energetic informational structures. This is the idea that energy itself is organized in certain streams, right? And those streams, or those movements, those currents, we could say, push us in certain directions with our thoughts and with our expression. And it limits our individuality. The heart wants to be this unique existence and have this amazing impact in the world, and the mind just wants to fit in. It just wants to survive. It just wants to be okay. And so what happens over time is the mind generally takes over and it starts its process of caging up the heart. The mind decides that it's going to comply with the standards of society because that feels safe. Feels safe, feels like the right thing to do. It's what everyone else is doing. Why wouldn't we do that? But once we can start to put these pieces together and see that the heart and mind can actually unite and be on the same team, that's when it becomes actually possible to follow the heart. And then at that point, instead of being boxed in and shoved into a corner, we can actually express ourselves in an authentic way and become that version of ourselves that we know to be our true version. Now, this takes time and it takes some practice. You know, it's funny to me that people will watch a manifestation video, they'll sit down on their yoga mat that they just bought at Target, and then they'll just be like, okay, I'm gonna visualize, and then they'll visualize, and then the world won't completely change and their life won't be something completely different the next day. They won't jump timelines or whatever. And then they'll be like, this shit doesn't work. As if any skill in the world doesn't take years and years to learn. Really, for us, it's more about unlearning. You know, when we're kids, we're creative. We have spark, we have energy. We're enthusiastic about life. But we get older and older and older and more shoved into the mind, and ultimately we start to identify with it. We think that we are our mind, and in fact we're not. We're our heart and our mind, and those two things can work together. So when we put the heart in the driver's seat and allow the mind to do what it's so good at, which is thinking and speaking in a certain direction, it can follow the heart as opposed to being the leader. The heart can be the ship captain, and the mind can be the navigator, reading the map and saying, hey, we could go this way, we could go that way, right? Look at all this infinity here and how it's just manifesting before our very eyes. That's what manifesting actually is. It's coming from the world of dreams and thoughts and non-physical into the physical world. That's what a manifestation is. And what Vadim says that we need to learn how to do is learn to choose. We learn to choose by aligning our heart and mind and going in the direction that the heart calls us to, and then using the mind to problem solve and have some critical thinking. But the heart has to go first. That's how it works. But we can literally choose from the infinite archive of options for our own life when we decide to consciously choose and create intention moving in a certain direction. Now, I've studied this book for about 10 years. It's a great model for reality. It's very explanative, and I don't know that there's anything else that really does such a great job of laying out the way the world works in such a cerebral way to sort of massage the mind into relaxing a little bit so that it can begin to follow the heart, so that that heart can open, so that creativity can come online, and so that we can navigate toward our true goal and toward that fulfillment. Now, I found that there have been many obstacles and challenges along the journey as well. It hasn't always been, like I said, easy. I would say that once you understand it, it's simple, but it's not really easy. And I wanted to create something that could give back and help people along when they decided to take this leap, which is why I started a school community called the Transurfing School. In the community, I have a free course that you can take on Reality Transurfing. It teaches you all the stuff that I was just talking about. And we also have weekly calls. We also have guests, and we have all kinds of amazing community members who are working on their dreams, working on their goals, and sharing actively in the community. So that's something that I want to invite you to, since you've watched through this whole entire video. And I want to say that I want to encourage you to open up and follow your heart, to follow your passion, that which you're curious about, because there's something specific and unique about you that no one else has. There's no one else on this planet who has the same gifts, talents, and abilities that you have. And you are literally one of one, someone who can bring something to the world that no one else ever has. Instead of being locked into a box and going on a trajectory that's already been carved out for you, you could actually create your own adventure story. And I want to encourage you to do that. And I want to support you in it. So for $0, you can join our community and begin to learn these lessons and engage with myself and everyone else in the community. I have some incredible guests coming, and I'm really excited about it. So I hope that you'll take a moment to click the link below, click a button when you get to the landing page. I know it's a lot. And then you'll be admitted into the community and begin to have the opportunity to learn this stuff. I want to teach it to you. I want you to bring your gift to the world, and I believe you can change the world. I really believe you can. I know that might sound big. It's like, oh, I want to change the world. I want to follow my heart. These things are not cliche for no reason. They just sound corny, and the mind rolls its eyes because it's thinking and it's speaking and it's hesitating. It's waiting. It's like, well, I'll watch a couple more videos before I join the school group. I'll do a couple more. I'll read a couple more books on this stuff before I decide to actually take any action, right? It's just so funny. But I'd love to invite you in. I'd love to see you in there. I'd love to connect. I appreciate you for watching this video. And I hope you also subscribe to the channel and all that. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Am I full of shit? Or is there something to following your heart? I'll leave that with you because you know what? It doesn't matter to me. I've already kind of figured this out for myself. So thanks so much. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you inside the school group.